that's an interesting thing, because the people that inspired me weren't, I mean, I could say, hey, my first Taekwondo instructor really had an impression on me. My boxing coach, my wrestling coach, Bruce Lee. I mean, these are spiritual guides. I mean, my wrestling coach, my boxing coach, I came in there and I was so afraid of these guys, and I've been martial artist for so long that, he saw me come in. I said, look, I've never boxed. I don't know how to box. But he thought I was a ringer, just one of those guys being an asshole, because I was coordinated, and I've been practicing every day. I had a heavy bag in my house, and so I was always punching and doing stuff, but I'd never been taught how to box. So I came in there truly like the, open-minded, look, I don't know how to box, teach me. And then when he put me in the ring with other beginners, because I was so nervous and hyped up and amped up on fear, I'm like, boom, boom, I'm firing shots at, the guy, and I'm hitting these guys. But anyway, if you know me, ever work with me, I wasn't being a dick, but he probably thought I was. Like, look at this guy. He said he's never got no experience, and look at that combo. So he put me in the ring with some guy and told this guy just to bust my nose. He told this guy to hurt me, and so I'm in there sparring with the guy, and he's beating me. I mean, he's nailing me with body shots. He's drilling me, and we're using these like 16 and 18 ounce gloves, and I can't hurt him, and he's hurting me because, I mean, boxers hit fucking hard, and martial artists don't hit nearly as hard as boxers, especially if you're just boxing. And so his guy's beating on me, and I'm in a clinch. I'm holding him in clinch. I'm going, dude, what are you doing? This isn't a title fight. And he's hurting me, and I'm getting scared. I'm like 15 and a half. So I must have been 16 because I just started driving there. And so what happens is it's now in the second round, and I'm scared, and I'm in fear of my life, but I'm not going to quit, right? And a couple more clinches, and I go, dude, you need to back off. I don't know what I'm doing. You're freaking me out here. And he's like, come on, man, just fight. Kind of like little elbows and light headbutts in the clinch to push me off. Yeah. He gets me in another clinch, drives me against the wall, drives me against the ring, and we're in like one of these training sparring rings, so it's not even a 14-foot inside the rope ring. I mean, it's one of these like 8 feet, and so there's nowhere to go. Yeah. You're just a little bit bigger than an elevator. But what happens is we get into clinch, and I dig down and I hit him I managed to nail him with a good body shot. But as I did, I had already formulated this. I turned and I came and I hit him with the laces part of the glove, just right between the eyes. And it was at this point I decided I was going to defend myself. And I nailed him. I knocked him right out. I mean, he went right down because I hit him with the inside of the glove and hit him like the laces right between the eyes and knocked him out. And fell down, and I looked over, and the boxing coach, who I'd been looking at while I was getting this beating, he had this little smirk on his face. I looked over at him, and his eyes were like open, like what the fuck? And I said to myself, And I looked at him and I said, hey, thanks for the lesson. I walked out, I went to the bathroom. I was bleeding and had mouse, in my eye, and but I never went back there. But I'm kind of saying, I thank my boxing coach, because what he did is he by being a jerk and not understanding how to coach, he made me a better coach. I realized things you don't do, that you communicate in a different way. But it also made me realize things about teaching, fighting, and systems. And, we have a maxim now that in combat only the result counts. It's not who's right, it's who's left. Yeah. So things like that. So I never had and I miss it, because I've, become friends with the best warriors, the greatest warriors I know are terrorist hunters and cops, the people that I consult with for the last 20 years. I mean, these people, they put their life on the line. There's no mouth guard. There's no big John McCarthy or somebody in the middle of an octagon to say, hey, that's illegal, take a knee, 8 count, let me check if you got Vaseline on your arms, or, whatever. These guys go out and these are death matches they get into. And so they're my mentors, because they come in and they go, what would you do in this situation? What would you do in this scenario? And from the martial arts perspective, the people that have really guided me were the great masters who left their spirit and their energy in the treatises, in the documents, where there's shit from Musashi that I quote in every seminar. Because of the dynamic and how I came into the industry and the time and what was going on, I didn't come from this lineage. I did Taekwondo, I wrestled, I boxed, and then by fluke I got thrown into a teaching role. And that jump started my system, and I had some really crazy experiences with some very famous martial artists where I said, I don't even want to train with this guy. That was weird, it was, and it kind of put me on my own path. I've been teaching tennis and skiing and other stuff, and I had a knack for communication and a love to see other athletes succeed in a new skill set. So it just became natural for me to follow my dream to teach self-defense. Mm-hmm. Excluding mine.
Yes.
People, I remember getting emails, what's the best art for the street? And I'd say art is for a museum, Mm-hmm. I don't think there's an answer. I mean, I think it has to do with who you're training with, because at the end of the day, the mind navigates the body. And, I had a student of mine who left our system, and he wanted to go into the Olympics in boxing, and he was from an affluent family, and his dad got him 2 boxing coaches and conditioning coaches, and he came back after a year and a half or 2 years, and he was kind of like in my office, and he had that Kramer face on from Seinfeld, he's like, yeah, so I've been training with so-and-so and so-and-so, and I said, that sounds great. He says, yeah, I'm going to try out for the Olympic team. And I said, wow, Johnny, you're doing great. That's so excited for you, He goes, yeah, so, hey, you feel like jumping in the ring and sparring? And he was like, I was older than him, but, he was now like a guy 2 years training privately boxing, wanted to box with me, didn't want to do what I do. So I said to him, hey, why don't you spar a couple rounds with Dan? I got a couple things to finish up, and then I'll jump in with you. Mm-hmm. Which is really me saying, let me see you move first, and get tired, and so that's some secret scroll lessons from wise masters. But the truth of the matter was, when I was putting on Dan's gloves, Dan was one of my instructors, I said to him, I had no idea how good he is, so I want you, for the first 30 seconds, you move at him like this is like your life depends on it. And I whispered this to him, as I'm putting the gloves on. Well, this sparring session lasted about 15 seconds, and this kid, Johnny, got dropped. And he was so upset he actually started crying on the side of the ring because, how does he walk into an old martial arts school? And he had to, he was a little pompous. He thought he was going to, come in, and maybe he was looking for some, father-son shit from me, right? Hey, you look good, whatever. But it's all comms. He approached it wrong, and he got punched out. Mm-hmm. And I put my arm around him as a mentor, and he's like choking back tears, and he said, my coach said I had an amazing jab. I don't understand this. I said, Johnny, you do have an amazing jab. I said, what you haven't been doing is sparring with guys who don't give a shit about your jab.